Today we are sitting down with Max's owner, Kaylee. So Kaylee, tell me a little bit about when Max had his first seizure.
So Max was almost 3, and he woke us up in the middle of the night. He was on the floor, and I thought he was choking, and it took a couple minutes for me to realize he was actually having a seizure. And we were on the phone with the emergency vet. I took him downstairs, and he didn't recognize me. He turned aggressive towards me, which he never does or had done at that point in his life. And he was aggressive and didn't know where he was, kind of recognized my voice, but we now know he was blind. He couldn't see us. The emergency vet, since him being so big and we couldn't get him there, he's 80 pounds, she agreed that it was a seizure, just take him to his regular vet the next day. And we did, and they basically confirmed it was a seizure. And with his age range being from 3 to 5, it was more than likely idiopathic epilepsy, but there's no real test to determine. Blood work was normal. It's just kind of random seizures that happen over a period of time, or not period of time, but random seizures that happen. No rhyme or reason.
So are there any warning signs of when Max may have a seizure?
Sometimes a couple days before we'll notice he's either really needy, he kind of starts to stop listening very well, like on his walks, and we kind of just start keeping an eye out. And now that it's been about a year and a half, we kind of have a system down where we know right now it's about a week and a half, every month and a half. He tends to have a seizure, so we start watching out for those cues. And then when he goes into a seizure, he goes fully down, seizes. Then when he comes out, it used to be he was aggressive and blind and would stumble around for hours. And then it gradually decreased with each seizure, and we started using a method with the ice pack, which we think tended to help a lot with the aggression after the seizure. It's there's been some studies that have shown it helps decrease the post-ictal symptoms, and he tends now to have almost no aggression. Every now and then he'll have he'll growl, but he still does go blind after his seizures. And I think now that he's a little more comfortable, he kind of knows what's happening when he comes out of it. He knows our voice, and he's a little more comfortable, but he still has night blindness for about a week. So at night, he's a little more wary of his surroundings. Like he might growl at a tree that he knows the tree's been there for 4 years, but he thinks it's just a random shadow.
Wow, so a seizure just doesn't happen within 5 minutes. It happens. It could happen up to a week and a week after.
Yeah, so it could be a 2-week period of starting to notice cues, and then the actual seizure itself may be only a minute. With him, it tends to be a minute and a half to 3 minutes, and then it could be up to a week before he gets his full actual self back.
So how has your daily routine and really just your daily life in general changed since Max has been diagnosed with seizures?
So basically, our schedules run almost around his medication. He gets a pill. One medicine gets every 12 hours, and then there's another medicine he gets every 8 hours. So in the morning, you have to get up. He eats around 7, and then an hour later, about when I'm leaving for work, he gets the second medication. And then whoever gets home first from work in the afternoon gets his second 8-hour medication, and then 12 hours later, he eats his dinner with his first medication. And then around between 11:30 and midnight, he gets his last pill for the day. And then we start over.
What advice would you give other pet owners who have animals that are epileptic?
Just stay calm if your pet does have a seizure. Comfort them. We always kind of pet Max during his seizure, and then when he starts to come out of it, since he has had aggression in the past, we back away. You learn to know the cues when he's coming out of a seizure, so we back away, make sure the lights are off, make sure TVs are off, no high noise, because their senses are heightened when they do come out. And then we use an ice pack during the seizure also. That tends to help with his aggression and recovery after. Most dogs tend to be really hungry after a seizure, so we give him a little bit of food after he's come out of it and calmed down just a little bit, and then we just keep him cool. We have a fan that runs on him. And then just everybody just kind of sits down, chills out, keeps him calm until he's back to normal.
Thank you, Kaylee, for coming in today and talking to us about your experience with canine epilepsy.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll be very informative for other pet owners.